Shalom, shalom. First off, foremost, I must give all honor, praises, glory, and respect to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakagadash. While Yahweh Shai have given me a spirit to this lesson, I must give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for the mighty work they do, and also mighty shalom to the whole fellowship watching out there. Shalom. This brother and I come back to another quick lesson from GMS Camp Gary, Indiana. My previous videos talked about the road to heaven, what we're going to endure in order to reach the kingdom of heaven, and what we can't do and how we can't be. But, there's a way we have to be in order to make it. And it's a certain people, the elect, who's going to get that first class ticket, okay? Because they turn back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, how willing be a part of that number, okay? And seek the Lord and cleave unto Him, okay? And trust in the Lord with all thine heart and all thy soul, okay? And repent it and by rehearsing the righteous acts to the best, of our ability. You know what I'm saying? Because we still in this flesh, the chains of darkness, but we're trying to overcome our flesh, So, and the benefits that we're going to see in the kingdom of heaven, But I may make another video about that. Okay. But before we get there, oh yeah, and the suffering that we're gonna have to, go through in order to see that kingdom. Okay. We're gonna suffer regardless, so we might as well suffer for righteousness' sake, right? It's like it. So, this is, the road to the mark of the beast now. Okay? Because we're all going to be tried. Okay? We're all going to be tried. And we're hoping that Yahweh Shem Yahushai keeps us from that hour of temptation. Alright, that is to try us. Okay? So, we hope that happens. Right? But regardless, we're going to have to go through it, But the end game is for us all to receive that chip, that micro C to the hip. Okay? That's the end game. It's just what it's all about. That little bit of piece of chip that's going inside your skin, your right hand or your forehead. We're gonna get that. But it's all about resisting that mark. But we must understand that on the road to that, it's going to be all out chaos. And they're going to try to have order amongst the chaos. Okay? Who is they? The so-called Illuminati. Okay? These rich, elite, air quote, banking families. Right? These so-called ooish people who are in charge. Who are running things behind the scenes with the strings, okay? Who I believe just complete cowards. That's why they don't want to show their face. They think that that's their power by not revealing themselves, okay? But we know who they are, all right, through the Spirit, okay? But they're going to try to have order out of chaos. Okay? We're going to have all these things happen to us before the chip comes. Okay? It's gonna be a great famine. All right, people gonna starve out here. Their stomach is gonna touch their back. They're gonna be 50 pounds. Okay, and they're gonna suffer. All right, and if that don't happen, they're gonna get taken by the sword. All right, be shot, murdered. Okay, illed. Okay, they're gonna suffer from disease when that pestilence comes back. Round two, Amdemic 2.0. Okay, we're gonna be on lockdowns again. All that good old stuff. Forced vaccinations. Okay, that's what's gonna go. That's what's gonna happen, right? It's gonna be a blackout. We ain't gonna be able to see nothing. All right, and in the mix of that blackout, that's when a lot of things are gonna happen in the dark. Okay, and it's gonna be that comprehensive cyber attack. But we're not gonna have anything that's working. Okay, all the banks gonna shut down. Right, we're not gonna be able to access our money, our accounts. Okay, everybody's gonna lose their job to AI. Okay, and then in the mix of all this, right, and many more, right, that's when they're going to try to establish, hey, we can get things back to normal. Okay, through this little micro step. Okay, we can get things back to normal. That's what they're gonna try to impose on the people. And then the simpletons who've been starving, they haven't eaten, and their families are begging, we need to eat. They say, hey, we got food over here, but they not even gonna know it's 3D meat. It's not even real, or you're gonna be eating abominations, that nasty swine, right? Or you're gonna be eating artificial vegetables, okay? But people would rather eat that than eat nothing, right? Why do you think William Gates had bought up all this land? So he can destroy it and make fake food. So people can digest it and get sick, right? And that's all we're going to have in that time after all this goes down, fake food. So they're going to entice you with fake food, okay? And that's how they're going to bring it upon you. And if you're not strong, if you haven't girded up, yourself in the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, you're going to fall for that temptation. That's why it's called the hour of temptation. Because you're going to want to be tempted to go back to, normal. Right? Instead of chaos, mayhem, and starvation. You're going to want to seek a solution, and they're going to give it to you. And they're going to have your name, okay, which is most likely going to be a number, okay, your information, and they're going to be able to give you digital money in the digital system like that, as long as you obey. That's what it's all about, obedience, because they want total control. Okay, they want to hear your thoughts, right? And they want to see where you're going, what you're doing, because you're going to be tracked. And all of this is on that little chip, okay? So that's what we're going to have to go through until we get to the end game, which is the mark of the beast. This is the book of Revelation, chapter... Slacker. Let me get that first. Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. And he calls it all. Who is he? The so-called Illuminati, like I said, them rich banking families, right? Calls it all. This is referring to the whole world, not just the world of Israelites, but the entire world, right? Both small and great, don't matter what status you at. If you at the bottom or if you at the top. If you famous or if you not famous. If you're a regular Joe Schmo, right? Rich and poor. It says rich and poor. So it's only gonna be two classes. There ain't gonna be no middle class no more. The way they gonna do things, they said AI is gonna take our job. It took our jobs, right? We ain't gonna have nothing. They say we're gonna have own nothing and be happy. That's what Klaus Schwab said before he wanted to step down, right? Free and bond. So you're gonna be so-called free, or you're gonna be locked up in these FEMA camps, okay? Or you're gonna be locked up in actual prison, right? To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? That implementation device is going to be inserted inside of us, okay? And we're going to have that digital tattoo, all right? So they can be easily identifiable, okay? They're going to try to put the chip in your brain, right? And just like all these movies called, implanted, upgrade, which upgrade is man, it's a good movie, okay? Implanted shows a more precise way of how things gonna be done. But yeah. And it's AI chip, okay? It's AI. It's gonna talk to you. You're gonna hear voices in your head. Where do you think that comes from? Like say schizophrenia. No, they've implanted you. Alright, that's AI talking to you. Making you go crazy. Insane. In the membrane. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell. You ain't gonna, no man, said no man. Unless what? Save he that had the mark, right? Unless you had that chip. Or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing without that micro C hip. Okay? Not a thing. Alright? And before then, yeah, we're gonna be bargaining. We're gonna be, hey, I give you this for this. I have this for that, but money, green piece of paper is gonna be obsolete. But people are dying, killing, selling their soul for this green piece of paper now, and it's gonna be obsolete in the very near future. They don't even get that, right? That go over their head, right? But in this time, when the mark of the beast is out, okay, that's the only thing you're gonna be able to do. This little thing right here, all right? And without that, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. But if you get that, man, you're gonna have that damnation. Okay, them nukes, they coming for you. Yahweh Shai, he coming for you. That's why you have to resist. The only way you're gonna resist is if you get in that spirit by Yahweh Shemel Shai, in order for you to overcome, right, that hour of temptation, so he can keep you from that. Okay, using his spirit. All right. This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity. And these people, they the one devising it.